about love from my parents. I think my parents are one of the greatest examples of love that I have had in my life, experienced in my life. I love that we got to grow up in a family where our parents loved each other, where even though they were different, they learned to get along. I love that they taught us to love each other as siblings, that we could have close relationships with each other, and even though we don't all live close now, that we can still feel close to each other because of that. I love that we learnt to appreciate the differences in each other in our family, and I think that we did that because of the great example that Mum and Dad set for us.
The thing that comes to mind when I think about what I've learned from Mum and Dad about love is loyalty. I always knew that for Dad, Mum came first and vice versa. He always put her first above and beyond anybody else, and I always had confidence in their love for each other, and I really appreciated that. I also learnt sacrifice. They sacrificed a lot to raise us and to keep our family together, and I'm only beginning now, as I raise my own family, to understand just what that sacrifice entails. And so loyalty and sacrifice are the things that I appreciate most from their love for each other and for us.
One of the best things that I've learned from having Mum and Dad as my parents is that we are all different and we all think differently and feel differently, but we can learn so much from trying to communicate with and understand each other.
One thing I've learnt about love from Mum and Dad is that true love is so much more than falling in love. It's two people choosing every day to love each other through the good times and the bad times. And I've learnt that true love is a verb that requires action and sacrifice, and I've seen that in Mum and Dad's marriage, and it's been such a good example to me. I couldn't have asked for a better example of what real true love looks like.
Some things I've learned about love from Mum and Dad. The primary thing that comes to mind is that love can be measured by sacrifice. Discussions had many times with maybe father mostly, but certainly with Mum also, that you can measure how much you love something by what you're willing to give up for it, or what you're willing to trade for it, and that's a helpful measuring tool. Also the 5 Love Languages book, obviously, because that's been shared about 8 million times, and the principles in there, and perhaps something comes to mind about, or from Mum, is sharing, just that you share the things that you love with those that you love, and that's all, nothing else at all whatsoever. Jokes.
I've learned that their love for everyone in their family is unconditional, and it doesn't matter what mistakes you've made or whatever you've done, they will always love you no matter what.
One of my memories of being a teenager is how often I used to babysit my younger brothers and sisters, because Mum and Dad went on dates, and Mum and Dad went on dates all the time. It felt like as when I was a teenager. As a married person now, I appreciate being able to go on dates all the time, and I understand why Mum and Dad went out on dates all the time. But it was a great example to me of how much they enjoyed spending time with each other.
One memory I have of Mum and Dad is when I was little and Dad had a big work dinner or conference or something, and Mum was going, and she had sewn this very gorgeous dress, and she got all dressed up and fancy, and I thought she was very glamorous, and I remember how proud Dad was to take her, because he loved her and thought that she was so beautiful, and I think she loved being loved by him.
One of the best memories I have about Mum and Dad is them going on date nights very frequently as we were children, and that set a great example for me about how much I need to value my relationship with my husband.
So my memory isn't one specific one, it's more a general feeling that I had as a kid. It's not something that I even understood as a kid. I've only understood it as an adult and as a wife now, that Mum and Dad always respected each other, and they were always kind to each other even when they disagreed about things. And I took that for granted as a kid. I thought that that's just how husbands and wives treated each other, which is how they should treat each other. But I would go to my friends' houses and see the way that their dads and mums spoke to each other, and it was so different to how our parents treated each other. And it's such a good example to me that if you love somebody, then you treat them with respect and kindness no matter what.
The memory I have about Mum and Dad as a couple primarily is them going to the movies. They would often go to Indooroopilly and watch movies at the El Dorado 8 Cinemas. And another memory I have is Mum and Dad going for walks around the block, which consisted of going around the block at Langley, past Wade's place and back. I remember doing that a few times. I wouldn't say it was the most consistent thing, but I remember doing it with them both. And the time that they spent together, I think largely in that house, most of their couple time was time spent in the absence of the rest of us, down at their end of the house, which I'm sure they appreciated.
The experience I've had with Grandma and Grandpa as a couple, the last time I saw them happily was when I went to work for them over the Christmas holidays. Whatever I did made their life a lot better, and as a result of this they were much happier because of how much I helped them, and they couldn't be prouder of me.
I think that my life has been blessed in thousands of ways by having Mum and Dad as my parents. The value that they put on education, on the gospel, on kindness, on loving each other, on getting along, those are all things that helped me become the person that I am today. I couldn't have wished for better parents than the parents that I had.
How has my life been blessed by having Mum and Dad as my parents? I think of all the many, many ways that my life is blessed. The one I value the most is that I was loved, and that I am loved, and that my children and my husband are loved by them as well. I think to love and be loved is the greatest blessing anyone could have, and it's something I've always taken for granted, and what a wonderful blessing it is to be able to take that for granted. Mum and Dad, I love you. Thank you for all that you do for us. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Leonard and Barbara. It's a marvellous achievement to have been married for 40 years, and you have such a wonderful family as evidence of the great love and example that you've been over that 40 years. I guess the greatest thing that I have received as a result of your relationship is your wonderful daughter. And you must be two very special people to have brought up a woman like my wife did. She has been a fantastic mother and a great example to our children, and a wonderful love and support to me. I guess the thing I'm probably most grateful for is that you accepted me into your life even before she did. And that was it was great to be a part of your family and to feel like I was a part of your family even before I really was a part of your family. But then after we got married, you've accepted me as a son, and it's been great to be a part of your family and to enjoy associating with the extended family as it has grown, and to see your great example and love for all of them, especially for my children. So I appreciate all that you do for us, all the love that you show my children and me and my wife. Happy anniversary and all the best. I look forward to doing another message in another 40 years.
Something that I've learned about love from Mum and Dad is that love is essential and non-negotiable.
Hi, Leonard and Barbara. I remember when we first met all those years ago. I was a missionary serving in your ward, and I remember how you opened your heart and your home and your fridge to me, and I knew that I was on a winner. I've raised wonderful children, one of whom I love very dearly in particular. I've enjoyed knowing you for these years, and I just want to congratulate you at this time as you're on your anniversary, your 40 years. I hope you have many wonderful years and eternities to come.
My life has been blessed by having Mum and Dad as parents entirely. Every single part of my life is blessed because of having them as my parents. Because of them, I was born into an eternal family. Because of them, I was able to create my own eternal family. Because of them, I have a testimony of the gospel and a relationship with my Saviour. Because of them, I am a strong person with opinions and with great self-esteem and with a strive to do good in the world. Because of them, I have the ability to work on my marriage and to know that love takes work, and that I have that example to show me that if I work hard at my marriage, that it can be better, and it will maybe one day be like theirs. And I'm so thankful for that. My life has been blessed by having them as grandparents. They love my kids so much, and it's the greatest feeling in the world to see somebody else love your kids as much as you do. And I'm so grateful for that. And I love that.
What have I learnt from Leonard and Barbara's marriage? Well, basically I've spent half of my own marriage living with them, and during that time I was able to I guess closely observe them and see how they function as a couple, and see all the hardships and trials that they've gone through. And from that I've learned what a fierce example of two people that are truly dedicated to each other. So there's that, and I guess other things that I gained from their marriage is that they were able to build a rock solid relationship with my own children. And I think about the time we spent there, I think of the huge debt I racked up with all the Leonard's laundry service and Barbara's massages and the countless nights of babysitting, that they're perfect examples of service. And I guess that there about sums up what I've learned, that there's more joy found in serving one another and in marriage itself than by any other means. So on that note, happy anniversary, and love you heaps.
How's my life been blessed by having Mum and Dad as my parents? Lots of things come to mind. The primary one is the fact that you guys were able to identify the truth in the message of the missionaries and regarding the gospel, and because of your acceptance of it, I had the ability to have easy access to it. And of course, it's one of, if not the most valuable thing that I have.
Happy anniversary! 40 years is wild, so congratulations. a very big congratulations. Now, onto the question. How has my life been blessed by your existence? In lots of ways. Probably the one that I appreciate most is for giving birth to Charlie, because I ended up marrying the guy and he's really great and awesome, and he's currently pulling faces at me from behind the camera. That's nice. But second to that, I also very much consider it a blessing to have you love my child and children, future children, not a baby announcement. Love them as much as you do. That's very heartwarming, and particularly the assistance and the input that you've had in his life so far, and that's just so far, and he's only a year old. I love it very much. Yes. A way to a mother's heart is to love her children. Happy anniversary again. Love you guys.
My life has been blessed by Grandma and Grandpa because without them, my mum and dad would never have found each other. They're quite possibly the best grandparents I could ask for because of their unconditional love.
Happy anniversary, Grandma and Grandpa. I love you. You've blessed my life because you show me what it's like to be kind and caring for other people and for my family. And I'm also wounded, might be still over that blanket. And I love you.
The reason why I love my grandma and grandpa is because they love me, and I hope they have a happy anniversary.
I love grandma and grandpa because they love me for being me.
I love grandma and grandpa because they always support me no matter what. This makes me feel loved. I remember at my gymnastics competition, grandma and grandpa yelled, "Go Harmony." After I told my friends that they are my grandparents, I couldn't stop smiling.
I know grandma and grandpa love each other because they just take each other around on dates and stuff, and they buy each other presents for their birthday, and they love each other because they have a good relationship.
Happy anniversary, grandma and grandpa.
Happy anniversary, Grandma and Grandpa. I hope you have a good time, and thanks for all you have done for us and my family, and thanks for everything. Happy anniversary. I love you.
I know Grandpa loves Grandma because when I used to live at their house, Grandpa, when Grandma wanted the remote, Grandpa would just give it to her and actually get off his chair and give it to her, and sometimes Grandpa likes to give Grandma chocolate and buy her chocolate, and when they're on the couch, Grandma says, "Oh, I'm cold," and Grandpa just likes to get up and get a blanket or a pillow.
Happy anniversary, Grandma and Grandpa. Thanks for everything that you've given us, and that you're happy together. I love you. Bye.
I love Grandma